Hi, my name's Dave Reinhardt. I'm a member of the Ian Fleming Foundation Board of Directors. I currently hold the position of Secretary-Treasurer. I've been with the foundation since 1992. I was invited to join the board by the founding members, Doug Rodenius, Mike Van Blaricum, and John Cork. I started collecting James Bond memorabilia in about 1969 after On Her Majesty's Secret Service came out. This is the jump boat from Live and Let Die. It currently holds a world's record for a jump from one body of water to a second body of water with no assistance of a ramp. Roger Moore drove this in his first outing as James Bond, as I said, in 1973. We found it up north in northern, I believe it was either Wisconsin or Michigan, and it was being used as a fishing boat, a ski boat, family boat. It had a funky James Bond sign on the side of it. We had it repainted. Found a vintage 135 horsepower motor for it, and it's been over at Bewley. It was over at the Bewley Motor Museum for a number of years. It did the Reed exhibitions in the early 90s, the car tours, and we've got it back here in America now. So it wasn't that in bad a shape. Certainly it needed to be painted. The rug inside, the carpet inside was rotting. After all, you're talking a vehicle that's over 30 years old, and we had to replace that. Unfortunately, we couldn't find the exact same carpeting. It just wasn't being made anymore, and any vintage stuff out there was in the same shape that ours was. So it did take a little bit of restoration, but mostly the paint job and finding an original outboard motor for it. We have the pool boat that the villains drove in Live and Let Die that chased this jump boat. It was the black boat with no windshield, and it had a big white stripe on it. Ended up in the swimming pool. That was the end of their chase days, was they ended up in a swimming pool. We did have the inboard outboard that Bond eventually ended the chase sequence in. We've since gotten rid of that boat. It was in really, really rough shape and would have taken a lot of restoration. In fact, in the early days of the foundation, we were known as the James Bond Navy because all we really had were boats. The Neptune sub was the first vehicle we obtained from the 1981 James Bond movie, For Your Eyes Only. And that's humongous, that's very big and very difficult to move, so it hasn't really been around since the Reed exhibition. We've got the Q boat from The World Is Not Enough. It does work. It's a 350 horsepower jet motor in it, and it is very scary to drive. I haven't driven it myself, but it really moves on the water. We have the Escape sub from Diamonds Are Forever. We've had that since the early 90s. Although that's a villain's vehicle, it is unique in that it's the only studio version that was built. The second one that was built was filled with cement and used to bash itself against the oil rig when Blofeld's trying to escape. Since the last 5 years, we've really done well in the car end. We've got the Cougar from On Her Majesty's Secret Service that Tracy drove. It's one of 3 that still exist. We've got a special effects Aston Martin from the Living Daylights. This was one of the special effects cars. It's an all fiberglass body, and it's the car that you see the ski come out of the side of on the frozen lake when Bond needs to be a little bit more mobile on the snow. Oh, we have the Kajiva motorcycle from GoldenEye. We have the 1200cc BMW motorcycle from Tomorrow Never Dies. Those are great. I can't wait to drive those. I'd like to see a museum set up and an archive that we could make available for the public to see. James Bond is probably the most unique motion picture character in history. He's outshone classic characters like Sherlock Holmes. He's outshone some of the genres that have come up. And I think he's going to be around for a long, long time.